Okay, so in today's class we're going to be working on Excel chapter 5. Need to make a few notes about chapter 5 and chapter 6. First, in Excel chapter 5, you'll have two projects. One that just says chapter 5 guided project. If you click in there, you'll see that it says chapter 5 independent project. That's by design. Chapter 5 for Excel does not have a guided project, but it does have two independent projects. So chapter 5 independent project 5-4 is actually the guided project, and chapter 5 independent project 5-6 is the actual independent project that's going to be graded by SimNet, and it counts towards your grade. Another thing to note for chapter 5 is the quiz is not going to show up until later on today. So the quiz will actually it'll be showing up midnight June 28th. So at 12 a.m. tomorrow morning, the quiz will show up in SimNet. Now you have until July 5th at 11:59 p.m. to complete the quiz for chapter 5 before it's marked late. So you have from June 28th midnight to July 5th at 11:59 p.m. to do the quiz without having a late penalty on the assignment. All right, for chapter 6, we get back to the normal guided project. You see you have guided project 6-3 and you have independent project 6-6. Now, these will be due on July 10th. Now, this one, the guided project it gets graded by SimNet, but it doesn't count towards your grade. So the guided project will be out there until the end of the semester. It'll be available for you to try it. This will be due July 10th at 11:59 p.m. Now, we will have the quiz for chapter 6. That will be given on July 11th. So just keep that in mind. Today we'll be working on chapter 5 for Excel. It's in SimNet. Alright, so it looks like we have a resource file to download for this chapter. Remember, for step 1 for each of the projects, you have to download all of the required files. So for this, we're going to download the resource file because that's required. The start file is required, and the instructions file. So let's start with the resource file first. All right, looks like that's a zip file, so we're going to have to unzip or uncompress it. And download the start file and download the Office for Windows instruction file. Now I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and I see I have all three of my downloads for chapter 5 for the 5-4 assignment. First thing we want to do is work on unzipping the resource file. So to do that, we click on the folder, or we just click there. And once we click on there, we get our compress folders tool extract menu. We want to click on extract. We want to extract all. Now, I usually don't like to put it into folders, so I get rid of this last part, and it's actually just going to the downloads folder directly. So after I do that, it puts it all the way down here. So now I have my resource file unzipped or extracted, and then I have my instruction file, and I have my start file. All right, so let's get the start file open. We'll move that over to the side. and then we'll open up our instructions file. All right, step 1 says open the Wilson home-05 start file. Click the enable editing button, which is here. My file's already renamed, so that takes care of step 1. All right, step 2 says group the cash flow period. I always say that wrong. That place, Champaign and Rockford sheets. All right, to group those sheets, you click on the first one that you want to group. You hold down the control key, click on the next worksheet. So cash flow, Peoria, Champaign, and it says Rockford sheets. So again, you just hold down your control key and just click on the worksheets that you need to have grouped together. All right, step 3 says edit and format group worksheets. Select cells A1 to B2 and click the launcher in the alignment group, which is on the home tab. Choose center across selection from the horizontal list and click OK. So I'm going to go into here. I still have my worksheets grouped, and it says select A1 all the way over to B2, and then go to my alignment group. I'm already on the home tab in the alignment group, and it says center across selection. All right, so we'll click on the more button, and then we're going to go into the alignment tab, and where it says horizontal, that's the horizontal list, center across selection. And then it says click OK. So now you'll see that the first 2 columns and first 2 rows, these are going to be centered for each one of these worksheets. All right, 3B says edit the contents of cell A10 to read cash paid for marketing. Cash paid for marketing. Enter. You can see after you make that change on cell A10, cash paid for marketing, if you click on each one of the worksheets, you'll see that A10 has the words cash paid for marketing. Although the values in cell B10 are different, A10 is still the same. Okay, 3C says select cell A1 and ungroup the worksheet. So I select cell A1. I'm going to right mouse click on one of the worksheets at the bottom, and then I'm going to select ungroup sheets. So now they're all individual sheets again. So any changes that I make now will only reflect on that worksheet. Step 4 says select the cash flow sheet, which I already have selected. Step 5 says build a static consolidation for the cash flow from operations selection. 5A says select cells B4 to B12. So I'm going to go to B4, and then I'm going to go all the way down to B12. Use the sum to consolidate the data from the 3 location sheets without links. And if you look at figure 5-76, that'll tell you what it should look like once you do the consolidation. So if you go to the Data tab, Data Tools group, and click on Consolidate, it says use the sum. Then it says from the 3 location sheets without links. So I'm going to add that. Actually, let's get rid of that. We need to go to the Peoria worksheet, select cells B4 to B12, click Add, select Champaign, B4 to B12, select Add, and click on Rockford. It has B4 to B12. We're going to click Add, and then it says so without links, so we need to make sure that create links to source data is unchecked. And then we can confirm that everything is the same just by looking at figure 5-76. It looks the same, so I'm going to click OK. And after we do that, we see cash flow. Now it has values populated into it. And these values are coming from all of these values across the Peoria, Champaign, and Rockford spreadsheets. All right, step 6 says build a static consolidation for the cash flow from banking and investment section in cells B15 to B21. Delete the references in the Consolidate dialog box and use sum as the function. We need to scroll down to the banking and investment section, so that would be B15 to B21. And then we need to do a consolidate. We have that selected. Actually, before I do that, let me delete this and this, because I'm pretty sure it says delete the references to Consolidate dialog box. Well, all right, so on the cash flow worksheet, we select B15 to B21, go to the Data tab, Data Tools, Consolidate. It says delete these references, so I'm going to delete all 3. Delete, delete, delete. And then it says, so this is a static, so sum is the function. So we're going to go to Peoria. Select cells B15 to B21. We have that selected. We click Add. We go to Champaign. We see B15 and B21 are selected. Click Add. And Rockford B15 to B21. We click Add. So now we have Champaign, Peoria, and Rockford. And since it's a static consolidation, we want to make sure that create links to source data is not selected. So it's not selected, so we click OK. And now on our cash flow worksheet, we see we have values that are populated. Now would be a good time to save your document. So I'm going to do a Control S to save. And now my document is saved. All right, number 7 says build a static consolidation for the cash balance at the beginning of the quarter amounts in cell B24 with the sum function. So I'm going to make sure this time that I'm on the cash flow worksheet, which I am. I'm going to select cell B24. I know I'm on B24 because the B column is shaded and the 24 row is shaded. And also, if you look in the name box, it says I'm in cell B24. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to go to my data tab in the data tools group, and I'm going to select consolidate. I'm going to delete the old references. And then I'm going to click on Peoria, B24, click the down arrow, select add, click Champaign. I see Champaign B24 is selected. I'm going to click add. And then Rockford B24 is selected. I'm going to click add. I'm going to make sure that since this is a static consolidation, that create links to source data is unchecked. It is unchecked already. So now I'm going to click OK. And now we see that there are some values, a value that populated in the cash balance at the beginning of the quarter. Now is a good time to save. I'm going to do a Control S. I can also save by clicking the floppy disk up here. And I can also save by going to File, Save. So moving on to step 8, it says insert a picture file from a file. So this step, you see on the left-hand side, it says download resources file or download resources. That was part of the zip file that we extracted earlier on in this assignment. All right, so it says delete the cells of cell A1 on the cash flow sheet. So I'm going to make sure I'm on the cash flow sheet, which I am. I'm going to go up to cell A1 and it says delete the contents. Contents deleted. It says click cell D2. So I'm going to go over to D2. So D2. I know I'm on cell D2. You look in the name box, D2, and you see the rows, the row 2 and the column D, you see it's shaded. So that takes care of 8A, 8B. 8C says click the pictures button on the insert tab in illustration group. So I'm going to go to insert, illustration group. I'm going to click on the picture button. It says find and select WHES file downloaded from the resource link. So I know that my files are located in my downloads folder. We're working on independent project 5-4 resources. And there is the file, WHES. So I'm going to click on that. That takes care of 8C and 8D. 8E says click insert. The picture is placed at a default size. So I'm going to click on insert. So it's at a default size, it says. So now it says 8F says click the height box, which is located in the picture tools format tab. So this picture tools format tab only comes up when you have a picture selected. If I deselect this image, you see that picture format tab goes away. Once I click on the image, you see picture format tab, it comes back. So it says click the height box, which is located in the size group. So if you just hover over, you see shape width, shape height. So we want to select that, and it says type 1.2 to replace the default height and press enter. So I'm going to type 1.2. That should change the height of the image, which it did. Let me do, so that's 8F, 8G, 8H says format the height of the row of row 1 to 86.25. So I'm going to select the row, right mouse click. I'm going to go down to height, and I'm going to type 86.25 and click enter. So you see that change. Another way to do it is just hover between the row 1 and row 2. And once you hold down your left mouse key, you see that there's a height and pixel value. You can actually do it this way as well. So I got it there. So again, just hover between rows 1 and row 2, and then hold down your left mouse key, and you see that the height matches what it says in 8H. So that takes care of 8H. All right, 8I says point to the logo frame to display the mover. So I'm going to point there. We have a mover. We're going to click. We're going to drag the image to appear in cell A1 as a main label to the worksheet. So if you look at figure 5-77, and then it says click cell D2 to deselect the picture. Now's a good time to save your document. We're going to do a Control S. So that takes care of 8I, 8J, and 8K. Again, step 9 says create a dynamic consolidation for the statement of maximum cash flows. 9A says click the maximum sheet tab. So I'm going to click maximum, the maximum worksheet. 9B says select cells B4 to B12. So I'm going to select B4 to B12. Use max function use max as the function to consolidate data from Peoria, Champaign, and Rockford sheets with links to the source data. So we're going to do something different for this one. So let's go ahead, make sure we're on our maximums worksheet. I'm going to go to the data tab. I'm going to click on the consolidate. I'm going to delete the old references. I'm going to change my function to max, and then I'm going to start selecting my references. So first one is Peoria, B4 to B12. Click add. I'm going to go to Champaign. We see that Champaign is selected, B4 to B12. Click add. Then I'm going to go to Rockford, and I see that B4 to B12 is selected. I'm going to click add. So this time, since it's a dynamic consolidation, I need to make sure that create links to source data is selected. And then I'm going to click OK. So that takes care of 9C. All right, 9D says select cells B30 to B36 and use max as the function to consolidate data from the Peoria, Champaign, and Rockford sheets with links to source data. So if you look at figure 5-78, that's how it should look. So I'm going to select cells B30, go down to B36 on my maximums worksheet, and then I'm going to go to my data tab, data tools group, and I'm going to click on consolidate. I'm going to delete the old references. We have max function selected. I'm going to click on my reference. I'm going to go to Peoria. Champagne, click add. Rockford, click add. And since this is a dynamic worksheet, I am going to make sure that create links to source data is selected. Then I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to do a Control S to save. Now's a good time to save. So do Control S or click the floppy disk, and that takes care of 9D. It says select cell A1. Back up to A1. Moving on to step 10, it says insert and copy a hyperlink. So it says click cell D3 on the Peoria worksheet. So I'm going to go to Peoria, and it says click on D3. So I know I'm in cell D3 because the D column is highlighted and the 3 row is highlighted. Also, if I look in the name box, D3, it says it there. All right, that takes care of 10A. 10B says create a hyperlink that displays company maximums and switches to cell A on the maximums worksheet. So we need to go to our insert tab. We click the links, click links, and it tells me displays company maximum. So should say company maximums and switches to cell A1. So we need to make sure that we're in place in this document. And it says switch to cell A1, which it will. And it's coming from the maximums worksheet. So if I click this, it should go to the company maximums A1. So I'm on company maximums, and it took me to A1. So if I go back to Peoria D3, that hyperlink, when I click on this hyperlink, it's going to take me to the maximums worksheet, and it's going to go into the cell A1 cell. So it did. So we know that works. So now we're going to go back to Peoria, and we're going to right click on cell D3 and choose copy. And then it says select champagne sheet, and we're going to go to D3. We're going to right mouse click, and we're going to paste. So this should do the same thing. It should take me to the maximums, which it does, cell A1. So 10F says select the Peoria sheet and press escape to remove the copy, but it's not there anymore because I've already copied and pasted from different worksheets. So that takes care of 10F. And just so you know, the copy marquee, it pretty much means when you do a copy, you see the little moving lines circling or going around that cell. That's the copy marquee that when you hit escape, it goes away. 10G says click cell D5 and click the cell with the hyperlink to test it. I've already tested it a couple times. I've tested it on each one of my worksheets, and I know that all of them work. And then 11 says save and close. So I'm going to save. I'm going to close. and then it says upload your file for grading. So now it's time to upload my file for grading. And I make sure that I'm selecting the correct document. Chapter 5, this is 9:52, it's a minute ago. And it looks like we got everything correct on this. If I want to review any other attempts that I made, I go back and I see down here in the previous attempt section, I have attempt 1, the name of the file that was submitted. It has my first and last name, has the name of the assignment, has the time that it was submitted, the date, and the result. You will not see delete unless you're an instructor. So that is the guided project for chapter 5, or independent project 5-4 for chapter 5.